welcome back. So today I'm going to prep my bumper. I just recently ordered an ARB Summit Series bar for my Tacoma, and I'm going to do a video of how to install this. I haven't really found many on the internet, and from what I hear, it's a pretty complex process, and the bumper weighs about 180 pounds. You throw a winch on there and you're over 200 pounds on your front. And I'm also going to install some new coilovers. Currently on my truck I have a Fox 2.0 coilover. It gets about 2 inches of lift to a Fox 2.5 extended travel coilover. So it'll be a little more heavier duty, as well as I'm going to upgrade the springs too. I contacted the folks at AccutuneOffroad.com and spoke with them for quite a while. They absolutely know everything about tuning Tacoma suspensions. So give them a call if you have any questions. I spoke with them. I told them about, I already have sliders, as well as I'm going to do a bumper and winch. So I'm going to have a lot of weight. Based on some research I've done, it looks like I'd have to go to a 13-inch 650 pound or 700 pound coil. They said go with a 14-inch 600 pound coil. So what I did was bought a set of I-Bot coils from them. I bought it specifically from them because they are the experts. They gave me great advice. The least I could do is purchase from them. So if you ever do that, call them up, buy something from them. They are amazing people. So with that said, let's get started cutting the bumper apart. The first step is to remove 2 clips, as well as 2 of these bolts. Here's one, they're 10 millimeters. Here's the other, it's 10 millimeter. And here's one of those clips. Just go ahead and get yourself, you can do it with a screwdriver, or I use a trim removal tool. Works really well. So those 4 pieces are the only thing that holds in the grill. To remove the Toyota Safety Sense sensor, it's the Safety Sense sensor, as well as the Auto Magic cruise control. There's a recall on the sensor itself, I believe. So if you're watching this now and have a 3rd gen Tacoma with the Safety Sense and pre-collision system, etc., you might want to contact your dealer and get that taken care of. Once you have the grill removed, now go through and remove the rest of the clips. Like right here, same thing. You just get a little screwdriver and pry up on that, and then slide it out. There's also these two. The fog light wiring harness is attached to it, and also make sure you disconnect this little guy too. You're going to go through. There's quite a handful of these. There's also some 10 millimeter bolts up underneath here. I removed my air dam a long time ago. So remove all that. You're going to pop these fenders off as well, and we can get to a cutting. So next, print out the template that ARB gave you. If you don't have it, you can give them a call and they will email you one really quick. Here it is. Cut it out. Be sure to print it to 100% scale. I kind of had to do some shenanigans with my printer, and I had to download Adobe Reader, so that'll be a fun tip. It'll actually let you print to multiple pages. I believe there's a poster setting. Next, take your template as well as some blue painter's tape. Tape your bumper up, kind of like I did. You're going to tape it, you're going to line one side with the edge of the bumper and the headlight, and kind of draw a line down. So this is all your cut line. Anything below this line we're going to cut out right here. I'm going to leave this a little bit longer for now. But I think the kind of general rule of thumb is to cut it right about there. This will all be covered by the bumper. This a support comes through here, I believe. That's why you have to cut it out. They give you a nice little grommet filler. My bumper isn't here yet, so I'm doing this a little, I don't know, it's a little bit risky, but I think it'll be alright. Just be sure to read the directions. If you don't have the directions, you can also email ARB. They should come in the box, but I went ahead earlier and emailed them. They sent me it. I'll stick the link just on the screen below. It's really important. Just keep reading the directions multiple times before you even tape up your truck or remove anything. Alright, the bumper's off. One thing to kind of pay attention to when you're taking off is watch out for these clips. They are kind of stubborn. You just have to be really patient. I ended up cracking where the bolts go, right there. I ended up using Gorilla Glue to mitigate the problem. So let me just kind of zoom out. There it is with no bumper. I'm getting ready to use a jigsaw to make a few cuts. Next, you need to trim the fender flares. Much better. Alright, all the prep work is done for the truck, all the cutting, all the painting, etc. Next, I'm just going to slap the grill and headlights on until tomorrow, and we'll do it to it. Alright, it's day 2. I'm going to start working on this again. I have got the bumper. It is right there. It's really heavy. I also noticed a small dent in it. You can kind of see it right there. I think it's fine. I'm not going to actually worry about it because I can't imagine shipping this thing back. I will call 4 Wheel Parts because I ordered it from them. So I'm going to proceed. I had to swap the suspension out. I went from a Fox 2.0 coilover to a Fox 2.5 extended travel internal reservoir coilover. I also swapped the springs out for a 14-inch 600-pound spring as opposed to a 13-inch 600-pound spring. Folks at Accutune Offroad helped me out. I installed them. They're way more plush. I took a ride around the block without a front end on my truck, and it worked out well. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the crash bar. It's aluminum. There's 6 bolts. And right now I just installed the bumper mounting bracket. I did have to trim a little part by the radiator right there, that plastic part. It didn't really explicitly say it needed trimming in the ARB directions, but so I didn't do it. So I just took care of it afterwards. You can see it retains the factory hardware. The 2, or actually 6 bolts right there, you can see. Alright, I neglected to do a little more trimming earlier, which is totally fine. And I just had to cut out some of the inner fender well there. The tension brackets that are right there go on the side of the frame and the side of the bumper mount brackets. So I just had to trim out a little bit to get those in. Slightly more progress. I put in the trim pieces here on my cuts I made the other day and put the trim back in. The tension bar is also in. Everything's very loosely fitted on there. I had to do a little bit more rough trimming. I'm not too worried about deburring this or really straight cuts because the grill is going to cover that. I might have to take a little bit more off the grill because I kind of did a little bit of a dry fit and it kind of touches here a little bit, so I might just shave off a little bit with a Dremel. Alright, so next I'm going to do a little bit of the work on the bumper. I put in the winch plate, you can see kind of in the middle right there, and now I just cut the grill gate. I'm also supposed to, before I do this, mount the license plate holder, but I can't find it, so I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere. But it's really slow work, just because I'm reading the directions multiple times before I make any cuts. Some other helpful tips that I figured out last night. This bolt right here, which is on the passenger side, it goes to the tension plate in the rear. You have to bend. If you have a transmission cooler, which all TRD pros or pros sports and off-roads actually have, you're gonna go behind here and drop your skid plate. It's pretty easy. It's 4 bolts. If you have a sway bar, which I didn't put mine back on because I don't think it really does much, you have to bend these transmission lines. You can kind of see them right there. Just bend them down a little bit, just enough room to keep the bolt head. Some other things I've learned is that all of my bolts and nuts and everything like that, I believe ARB just throws 1 bag in per bumper. I don't think there's actual specific bags for whatever. So the directions are really, really vague. There's all kinds of extra parts and stuff laying around. You can kind of see my bumper's actually dented a little more than I thought, but still not that bad. It's actually supposed to taper down a little bit anyway, so I think we're okay. Alright, it's day 3. What I did this morning was dad stuff, as well as it's nap time right now, and I just bothered my neighbor. He's kind of behind me mowing grass. You can hear his weed eater going. But we lifted up and kind of did a really rough fit on the bumper. I'll just kind of pan in. Here it is. a somewhat decent fit right there. This is one of the areas that is going to be kind of a problem to adjust this really nice. Although there's no weight on that. And if we look over here, you can see there's some damage from shipping right there. I'm not too concerned about it. The only concern is this under here, this damage. I don't think it's going to be all that big of a deal, but we'll figure it out. I'll call 4-wheel parts. That's where I got it from, and kind of go through that way. Here it is. There's the 3 bolts that we torqued to get in there. Here's the other side as well. There's my awesome neighbor who helped me do this. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so we'll get to doing some tightening. I did forget to cinch down one of these bolts right in there, if you can just see it. See if I can zoom in a little bit on it. Right there. I have no clue how I'm going to do that. I might be able to get a crow's foot in there if autofocus will work. Yeah, you can kind of see it right now. Get a crow's foot or something like that in there. Adjustable swiveling head on a 3/8 inch ratchet, or maybe even open and box and wrench. But the final product. The lights were a bit difficult to install. These fog lights right there were challenging because the directions said install them after the bumper was mounted. There's actually a bracket right here on the top and the bottom that uses 4 tiny Phillips head screws. I was able to get 3 of them in, but the 4th there was no even chance of trying because I couldn't get my hands in there. Also, the turn signal LED marker, I haven't wired that up yet. I'm probably going to do that later. But everything went together pretty smooth after. There is my dent right there. You can kind of see it. It is not all that noticeable, but I did contact 4-wheel parts where I bought it, and they're going to give me a $100 credit, so that'll be fun. I'll put that towards a winch or something like that, tires, whatever. I also have my Fox shocks installed. There's the 2.5s with the 14-inch 600-pound spring. Works really nice. It rides so buttery smooth on the road. I'm gonna have to get alignment here tomorrow, but there it is. Remember to like, subscribe, and be kind to each other. See you next time.